Okay, so I'm going to talk about Google Drive and how you can use it to store things, sync with multiple devices, as well as share certain items with colleagues or friends. So to get to, I've got two email accounts open here because I'm going to share between the two so you can see how that works. So I'm in my Western Gmail over here on the right side. And to get to our Drive app, we use this little app icon drop down. And these icons, a little side note I like to point out, can be customized. So yours may not look exactly the same as mine. You can click and drag these icons around to reorder them. So you can put the stuff that you use the most at the top. So if yours doesn't look like mine, that's why. Have you used the Google Drive at all? Just a quick question. No? Okay. Looks like we got somebody else joining in. If you can't, if you don't have a microphone, you can text or chat, I should say. So I'll start a chat with you as well and make sure everybody's hearing me okay. Okay. I can't tell if the our second participant can hear me or not. Are you there? I sent you a chat. Okay. I'm gonna just go ahead and continue here. Hopefully you can hear me and see my screen. If you get a chance to get a chat back to me to let me know that everything's okay. I see that you're on there, but I don't see a chat from you, so I can't tell if you can hear me or not. Let's try this. Does that work? Okay. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and open up Google Drive. I'm gonna click on the app switcher thing here, and then I'm gonna go into the drive here. But this is the web interface. So there's several different ways of getting to Google Drive. And if you're familiar with Dropbox, if you've used that at all, the concept is basically the same. It's basically a hard drive that sits in the cloud, and you can sync all your devices to actually look at that hard drive and access all the content on there. There's several ways of getting to it. So right now I'm on the web interface, but on this computer, I'm also synced with the Google Drive app, and so it treats it like a folder. So if I open up my Finder right here, and this will be different on a PC, but the Mac side, it calls it a Finder. And I've got a Google Drive folder right here. And so you'll see it's identical. So in my Google Drive, I see the CITR drive just like I do on my web interface here, because I've synced to that. So it treats it just like a folder. I can open things from here, make changes to them, save it right back to it, just like a folder on a desktop. And one of the nice things about Google Drive is the way things work on here is very, very similar to how things work on your desktop in terms of creating folders and moving things around and things like that. So it's a familiar interface. So I'm going to close this. Now, the reason I just have one folder in my drive is let me bring back my Finder here. I've synced to this Google Drive, which is my CITR account. And I wanted to have access to my CITR account from my personal computer as well, just in case I needed to get something off of there. And using the drive to sync to a folder like this, you can only sync to one account. They don't have an option for syncing to multiple accounts. I hope someday they fix that. But so I did a little bit of a workaround. I created a folder and I put all of my CITR stuff in it on my drive. So you'll see it here. And then I shared this folder with my personal account. And so now in my personal account, so if I go over here, in my personal account, I need to move things around a little bit. And I go to my drive. I've got a couple folders. I've got my CITR one that I've shared, and then I've got another one for all my personal stuff. And so I can get to both of them. So that's kind of a workaround if you want to access multiple accounts on one computer. There's also an iOS interface. You can download an iOS app that'll sync with your Google Drive. You can do the same on an Android device. But the difference with those is that you can sync to multiple devices on the mobile side. Don't know why they allow it on the mobile side, but not on your desktop. But that's what we got so far. So do be aware of that. You can open up multiple accounts on your mobile device. So basically, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through all of the options here. I'm just going to kind of start over here on the left side, work my way down, and then we'll work our way across the top here and in the main window. So when I'm in my drive, this new drop down is up here on the upper left, and I can do a few things here. I can create a new folder. I can upload a file directly from here, and then I can create documents using Google's apps. Now, the main apps that people use and the ones that they have available here on this menu are the Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. Those are the Google versions of the Microsoft Office suite. So Google Docs is their version of Word, Google Sheets is their version of Excel, and then Google Slides is their version of PowerPoint. And then you should have a more drop down, and then you can get to all the other Google apps, which they have a ton. So we can create new stuff directly from here. So if I want to create a folder, I'll click New Folder, and I get this little pop-up. And I'll simply give it a name, call this Workshop folder here. And then I'll click Create. And so now I've got a new folder in here. And this folder acts just like a folder would on your desktop. So I can double click it and go into it. I'll go back to my drive. I can click and move it around. So if I want to throw it into trash or if I want to throw it into another folder, I can do that as well. Very similar to how it works on your desktop. Now I created this in here. I'm on the web interface, remember. And I'm going to go back to my Mac folder and I'll show you what I got here. This should be updated. Now I've got a folder in here because I'm synced with that. If I get on my phone, I'll see it there as well. So that's kind of nice. I can get to it pretty much from anywhere. So that's how you create a new folder. If I want to put folders inside of folders, inside of folders, inside of folders, I can do that. And then I can put files inside of folders and so on. The great thing about our Western account with Google is that we have unlimited space. So you can put as much stuff as you want on there and you shouldn't have an issue with space. So any video people out there, you're gonna have plenty of space to put all your stuff. So I can double click this folder to go into it and I can put stuff in here. So I can click new and then I can upload stuff or I can create something from here. I'm gonna go ahead and create a Google Docs and show you what that looks like. There's a whole workshop that Sarah does on Google Docs. So I won't go through all the tools for that, but I will show you a couple things. So I'll go ahead and create a new document here. And what it does is it opens up a new tab. And I get the Google Docs interface, which is very similar to Microsoft Word. And I can type in some content. So here is some text. And you see it says saving. It automatically saves it, which is kind of nice. Right up here is the title. So if I want to give it a different title, I'll just call this Workshop File. And we'll do that. And Changes are already saved. And now I'm going to close this tab and we'll look back in here, and now I've got a file. Okay. So up here at the top, really quick, just a quick note, this is known as breadcrumbs. So the further I go in terms of folders, so if I keep creating new folders and I have a lot of folders and I just kind of keep going into them, I get this breadcrumbs up here. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but basically the deeper you go, you'll basically be able to see the path that you've taken. And you can easily get back, 2 folders, 3 folders, or all the way back to the main drive here. So that's what that is along the top. Okay. Moving on down. This here is your drive. So if you want to go to the root folder of your Google Drive, you click this here or this guy here. And this also gives you that same drop down that you have over here in the new. So there's multiple ways of doing the same thing, as you'll notice. So be aware of that. The team drives, this is a new thing that I just came across yesterday. So I haven't done a lot with it yet, but basically what it is it allows you to create a team drive, which would be similar to a folder. Anybody that you invite to that team drive automatically has access to any content that's put in there. So you basically share the drive, and then anything that's in that drive, everybody has access to. I haven't seen what the difference between this and creating a folder and sharing the folder, because that'll basically do the same thing, but that's what it'll do. So that's what the team drive does. Now the rest of the stuff down the left, pretty straightforward. So I'm just going to quickly go through this. Shared with me, this is going to be all the files folders that are shared with you by other people. So if you haven't had anybody share anything with you, then you're not going to see anything in here. So that's all that is. Recent, this shows you all of the recent stuff that you've worked on. So today I created a workshop file, and so that shows up there. It tells me what time I created it earlier this week. So yesterday I did this stuff here. So this is all your recent stuff. Google Photos, this does not work, at least not for me. Every time I come to this thing, it says stay tuned. Your older folders are coming soon. I don't know what the deal is with Google Photos, but it doesn't work. One of the options that you have with your files and folders is you can star them. Okay, so that's basically a way of flagging them to get to them easily, or if there's something really important. I don't have anything starred at the moment. I'm going to do that here in a minute to show you how to do that, and then we'll see it show up inside of this folder. And then at the bottom we have our trash can. This works exactly like the recycle bin on a PC, or the trash can on the docket on a Mac. So if you delete stuff, you can drag stuff to the trash can, you can right click and choose remove, and it'll go to the trash can, and there it'll sit. And then from here, I can right click and I can either restore or I can delete it forever. So just like the recycle bin, okay? And since we have unlimited space, and unless you like to stay neat and tidy, which obviously I don't, you don't have to delete anything. You won't have to worry about running out of space. Okay, so let's go back up to my drive, and I'm going to go ahead and go into this workshop folder that I created, and we'll do some things with this file. A lot of the things that you can do with files and folders, you'll find in a right click. So when I right click here, I get all of these options, and some of these options I have quick buttons for up along here. Now you may have noticed a second ago none of this stuff was here. So if I don't have anything selected, if I click out of here, that all goes away. But if I select a folder, you'll see I get some stuff, and with the file I'll get some stuff. So those are quick links to some of that stuff. So I'm going to right click and I'll just kind of go down the list here. First thing you can do is preview. So if I double click this, it's going to open it up in a new tab in the Google Docs interface. But maybe I don't want to edit it. I just want to see what it is. So I can right click and choose preview, and it just pops it up in a window here. So then I can take a look at it. And if it had more pages, I could scroll through and see everything. Excuse me. If I want to go ahead and open it so I can edit it, I can click here. I can also print from here, and then I can download as well. And then I got this. Whenever you see the three dots here, that'll give you some more options. This is basically all the same options that you get when you right click on the folder. So another place to get to that stuff. If you download it, Google Docs and Microsoft Word are pretty much interchangeable. So when you download it, you can convert it to a Word file and open it up in Word. And if you upload a Word file, you can convert it to Google Docs and edit it in Google Docs. So it works both ways. Now, to get out of this preview, let's say I right clicked, it says preview, I see what it is, okay, great. I just want to close it out. I can click somewhere in the dark area, or I can just click this arrow, which is the close, and that'll just close it back out. So that's right click preview. I can also select it, and here's the same button. You can see there's the same icon as this. So that'll do the exact same thing. Another thing I can do is just open it. I'm a double clicker, so I would just double click to open it, but you can right click and choose open with. And then share. Now here's one that, this is a big one that everybody wants to see. And it's also, whoa, I knocked some stuff off here. Pulled some cables with my feet. If I click the share option, and I also have it right here, as long as I got the file selected. But if I click share, I get a pop-up window. And from here, I can type in the email addresses of those that I want to share it with. I just got a question. What is the extension for a Google Doc? We'll download one and see what it is. I'm not really sure off the top of my head what it is, but I'll download one so we can see that. But if I want to share this, I can type in the email addresses of those I want to share. So I'm going to share this with my personal account so we can see how this works. I can add as many people as I want. And then over here, I can choose whether I want them to be able to edit it, just make a comment, and just view it. So if I want them to have full editing, I want to leave it to the default, which is can edit. And then from here, I can give them a little note. Here is a file for you. And I can click send. And we'll come back and we'll take a look at advanced, and I'll talk about shareable link here in a minute. But I'm gonna go ahead and click send. Okay, so it tells me down here, shared with one person. Now what I'm gonna do is go over here to my personal account, and I've got an email. And here's the workshop file. Here's the little note that I sent out, and I can go ahead and open this. And so now it opens right within Google Docs, just like it did before. And this is all in real time. So if two people or multiple people are in the file, so I'll open it over here as well. You can see the editing in real time. So here's my personal account. This is the account that it was shared with. Now, if I start typing, here is some more text. You can see over on the right-hand side that I can see the person that shared it with that person can also see as I'm typing. And it works both ways. So if I go over here, here is even more text. And I can see it on the left. Now it's got the same name, obviously, because both accounts are under my name, but it'll show you the name of the person who's typing. And you get this little icon here you can hover over and see who actually typed that comment or that text in there, okay? So that's kind of neat. You can see that all in real time, and everything is saved automatically, as they say. Okay. So I'm going to close that. And I'm going to close this one. And we're going to go back to the share screen. Before I do that, take a look at this little icon here that's next to the file. Now that it's shared, it gives me the little icon of a couple of people, so I know that it's shared. I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to go back to share. I can continually to add more people if I'd like. So if I click share, it brings up this window again, and I can type in more email addresses if I want to share it with more people. But I can also click this advanced link down here. And from here, at the top, I get the shareable link, which I'll go over here in a minute. But I also get a list of all those that I've shared it with. So here's my personal account that I shared it with. And I can click this drop down here, and I can change the permissions if I want. So if I decide I only want them to be able to view it, I can change that here. And then I can even set an expiration date. So I get a couple of different options than when I did the initial share. If I want to pass it on and make somebody else an owner, I can also do that. And if I want them to not have access to it anymore, I'll click the X, and it'll unshare it with that person, which I'm going to do here in a minute, and then show you what happens to the person that it was shared with. But a couple things down here at the bottom I want to show you. I can enter more email addresses, but I've got a couple check boxes down here. If I share it with some people and I don't want them to change the access or add new people, I don't want them to be able to share it with other people, I can check this box here, and then it'll prevent them from sharing it. I can also disable options for download, print, and copy, so it won't let them do any of that. So you get some more control here on how they interact with the file that you've shared with them. So I'm going to unshare this with myself, and then I'm going to save the changes, and I'm going to click done. Now what happens over here with the person that I shared it with, they go back into that email and they click open docs. They get this message here. It says you need permission. So I've unshared it with them. They've tried to open it again. It says, oh wait, you don't have any permissions for this anymore, so you need to request access back to that file. So that's what happens to the person that you shared it with. Okay. I think what I'll do now is I'll do that download, and we'll see what that extension is. Let's do that. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to do a preview, and then let's take this and download it and see what it does here. It actually went on ahead and converted it to a .docx. So it'll automatically convert it to Word. Yep, there it is. So let's do this. I'm going to file, save as, and save this to my desktop as workshop file copy, and then we'll upload it and see what it does there. So I'll save that. We'll close that. And now I'm going to get out of my preview. And I've got a few different ways that I can upload files. I can go to new, and I can choose file upload. But I can also just simply drag and drop. So if I open up like a Finder for a Mac or your Explorer window in a PC, and I go find my file, and let's see, what did I name that file? Workshop file copy. Okay, so this is the Word document. I'm going to drag it over here, and you can see I get this little blue color over there, and it's telling me at the bottom I can go ahead and drop these files. Just drop it. I get a thing at the bottom, upload complete, and here it is. Now the thing about uploading them is it does not automatically convert it to the .doc. Okay, so I can right click, open with Google Docs, and that will convert it. So if I do that, it opens it up in Google Docs. It's going to take a second, and now it's converted to a Google Docs format. So also works the same with Excel. and PowerPoint as well. Okay, so now I've got another copy in here, and you can see the icon has changed. So this icon is for Google Docs format, and this icon is for the Word format. Okay. Okay. Any other questions before I move on? Trying to keep an eye on my chat window so I don't miss any. Okay. So let's move on down the line here. If I right click here, I can get a shareable link. Basically all this is, if I turn this on, I can take this link and I can now email it to whoever I want to share it with. So I can either right click share, put in their email address in it that way, or I can take the link, open up a mail message in Gmail and paste it in there and send it. Now, if I do that, then they could actually forward that link on, and whoever has the link will actually have access to that file. I got another question. If Google has analogs of docs, why buy Office? Good point. There's really no need for Office. If you are okay with using the Google version, yeah, there's no need for Office. I think that's just kind of a personal preference, but Google Docs are all free. Yep, they are. Google Docs. This is all part of our account with the WIU and Gmail, but even in your personal accounts, you can use Google Docs. It's all free. Yep. For publisher access, I don't think so. If I go to new and go to more, I've got forms, drawing, maps. You can go through and see if it's got something that'll work for that. Just be aware of the fact that they probably won't be supported by the help desk. You can use any of the Google apps, but they can't support them all, obviously, because there's a ton. So there may be versions in there I don't know. I can't answer that question for you. Okay. So I'm going to right click. We did shareable link. This move to. This is just another way of moving files from one folder to another. I like to do the drag and drop thing, but you can do move to, and I can move it up to this folder by selecting that folder. So that is an option. I could even new folder here if I want to create a new folder to put it in. So that's also an option. Below that is the add star. So remember I was talking about the starred section over here. So if I add a star to this file, it's now got a star next to it. And if I go to starred, I'll see it in there. So anything that you've starred will show up in this area over here. You can call it a folder, but that's basically what it is. Let's see. Right click. Rename. So if I want to rename the file, I can do that pretty easily. So if I want to take the .docx off of that, maybe even take the copy off, and just call it file2. Click OK, and that'll rename it. And you see it change the order because it goes alphabetically. View details. So this will give you all of the information for any file or folder that you have selected. This is also available up here, this little eye. You can see the icon's the same. So if I have something selected and I view details, it opens up this window on the right, and it gives me all the information for this particular file. So I shared it, I did some editing to it, I moved it, and then I created it. So it gives me all of that information. Now this information here, this is the activity, here's the details, what kind of file it is. This is basically Google's version of properties. So on a PC, if you right click and choose properties, it gives you all this information. Or on a Mac, if you select a file and click Command I, it'll give you this information. Now this information will change depending on what you have selected. So if I select this file, I get the information for that one and the activity for that one. If I select this folder, I get the activity and details for that one. So that'll change based on what you have selected. And to get rid of it, I'll just click the little X here and X out. I can also get to that with the eye. That brings up the exact same window, like I said before. Okay, and I can click the eye off and on, basically turning on and off the details as well. Okay, manage versions. So this is something that I have not worked a lot with, but basically you can upload a new version, it looks like. This might be something new because I have not seen this before. Let's see if I get this with the other file. Maybe it's because this was a Word document. Yeah, see, I don't have that with the other ones. Maybe that's why. So the different versions, we've created a couple different versions. It looks like we can manage those. Current version is this one here. And then I can download it from here, it looks like, and even upload a new version. Okay, interesting. Oops, close out of that. Okay. Make a copy, we'll just duplicate it, download it, we'll download the file, and then if I remove it, it's going to throw it into the trash can here. So if I just click remove, you'll see it disappears from there, goes back over here, and here it is. Okay. Okay, let me go back in here, select a file. I kind of touched on this earlier. These are just the same items that you have when you right click. That just gives you some quicker ways of getting to them. And then the 3 dots here gives you all the rest of the stuff. This one here is a view button. So I'm viewing everything in a list right now. So if I click the grid view, it's going to change how I see things. So it's one of those personal preference type things. So you might want to view your stuff like this. It's divided out in folders and files. You can view it like that, or you can view it as a list. Kind of depends on how much screen real estate you got. You may want to view it as a list. If you don't have a very big screen, you want to see everything. The eye is the information. And over here on the right, we have a settings. So every app in Google has a settings, has this little cog wheel, right? If I go to my calendar, I've got one here, okay? And this is the settings for whatever app that you're in. So in my Google Drive, I can click settings and go to here, and I get basically just some general info. Not much in here that I don't know that there's anything in here that I've ever had to change. The defaults work pretty good. One thing that I have made a change is how I view things. So if I'm getting a lot of stuff in there, I'm comfortable right now, but if I click compact, you see how my file's scrunched up in here? So it basically takes up less room or more room depending on what you have. There's three options: compact, cozy, stretches out a little bit more, and then comfortable stretches it out even a little bit more. Manage apps. None of this I've never really had to change. The only option you get is just to go to the product page. So you might take a look at the different apps there and see if any of those are anything you might be interested in using, and you can get to the product page there. Another thing you can do from this cogwheel is download your entire drive. So if you want to download everything, you can just do a massive download. And you also have some keyboard shortcuts. So if you're one of those people that likes to memorize all those keyboard shortcuts, you can go through this list as well. There's a ton of them, it looks like. Okay. Any other questions? Nothing. If not, that's all I got for you. Remember the tip sheets are on our website. If you run into any problems, you can give us a call or shoot us an email. And if you're doing something, wanting to do something that I haven't showed you, or you're really interested in trying, then let me know. There's a lot of people doing different scenarios and things, so I haven't done everything with it. I had some people yesterday who are wanting to move from Dropbox into Google Drive because we have unlimited space. So they're working on that. So if you don't have any questions, that's all I got. Thank you for logging in today.